It's a watching party here in the AMP studios as we're taking a look at the Fort Worth ISD bond election 2013.
Plus, we will have election returns from our reporter Sam Gibson as soon as all three propositions are reported.
Also, live reactions from Fort Worth ISD Superintendent Walter Dansby. All this and more. AMP TV starts now. You're watching AMP TV's Commitment to Classroom special coverage of the Fort Worth ISD bond election. Welcome to AMP Cafe. I'm Jack Bellamy.
And I'm Victor Jesh. It is election day in the Fort Worth ISD. The polls closed just a few moments ago.
Voters had the opportunity to vote on 3 propositions to support the Fort Worth ISD schools. Proposition 1 of the bond program includes district-wide security and technology upgrades at every school. It also includes district-wide pre-kindergarten. There are also nearly 300 classroom additions as well as new kitchens and school cafeterias, 2 new elementary schools, new field houses, Wi-Fi study areas, and renovations to bring facilities into compliance with accessibility standards.
You know, technology has completely transformed the 21st century classrooms.
Laptops and iPads have become everyday educational tools at schools across the country. Students use them for learning.
And we're more aware than ever of the need to keep our classrooms safe and secure.
Build-Seal programs provide opportunities for all students. It gives them a head start on their college career, and it provides ample opportunities for them to explore their interests.
The School of Choice helps children learn and grow outside of a traditional curriculum based on their own personal talent and personal interests.
The better educated children we have, the better of a community we have. It's a win-win for everybody.
Children at this age are already learning their letters, their sounds, and social skills. Pre-K is not a babysitting service. It's the building blocks of a good education.
I am a kindergarten teacher, and I can see the difference pre-K can make on students.
For Proposition 2, funding is provided for Performing and Fine Arts Academy and the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Academy of STEMs.
STEM academies inspire innovation, critical thinking, and hard work, all very important in preparing students for the demands of college. Companies are looking for good engineers. We need to grow our own right here in Fort Worth.
Proposition 3 is reserved for non-construction items that require periodic refreshing, such as school buses, musical instruments and uniforms, furniture, and fixtures.
Of our students and their families rely on district transportation.
You can have wonderful schools and programs, but students have to be able to get to them.
Let's send it to Sam for the early voting results. Sam?
Oh, okay. Welcome to AMP Cafe. We are here with Sam Gibson, which is at one of our polling locations. So, Mr. Gibson, could you give us a quick update on the results?
Yes, early voting results have just been posted. For Proposition 1, we have 88% for and 11% against. For Proposition 2, we have 87.2% for and 12% against. For Proposition 3, we have 63% for and 36% for against. Reminder that is only early voting. I will...
That's wrong. You're on the wrong page. Right here.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, that was on the wrong page. Proposition 1 is actually 75% proposition for 4, and then against is 24%. Proposition 2 is 74% for and 25% against. And then Proposition 3 is 75% for and 24% against. Reminder that is only the early voting. I will contact you with information when we get the rest of the polling.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for having you on the show.
And once again, we only have the early voting numbers so far. Tarrant County election officials are working as we speak to get the rest of the returns. While we await those results, we have the Fort Worth ISD Superintendent Walter Dansby live in studio.
Thanks, Jack and Victor. You can see that part of our studio has been transformed into a watch party for the results of this bond election. We not only have Superintendent Dansby, but the cabinet and many of the school board members. Mr. Dansby, we now have the first look at what the voters across the district think about the 3 propositions. What is your reaction to the results so far?
Well, we're very optimistic, and we're excited about the results we have so far, but it's still early yet.
Okay. What all have district officials done over the past several months to inform the voters about each of the propositions?
Well, I guess we begin in August, and so we began our campaign in August for this bond election. I think we've held some 75 public meetings on it so far, and so I think we've done a great job of getting the word out about what's in each and every proposal.
Okay. Why are each of these propositions crucial for the future of Fort Worth ISD?
Well, they're all linked, and they're all linked to student achievement as well, because when we start looking at pre-K, we start looking at our safety and security to really make sure that all of our folks are safe in our schools. The additional space we need, the 300 classrooms that we have to have, but also we look at what we really need too is the technology. Technology is going to take us places.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you. Reporting live for AMP TV, I'm Dai'Shai Logan.
We have team coverage of tonight's bond election. Now let's send it over to the radio room for more on the bond election. Who do you have in studio with you?
Today we have Chief of District of Operations, Art Cavacos, and also we have
Loretta Desmond. Alexandria Walker.
So, Mr. Cavacos, can you tell us a little bit about what you know about the election tonight?
Certainly. Well, we just heard the results, at least on early voting, which is very, very good. Fort Worth ISD has about 140 campuses. Most of our campuses have pretty decent building, but this bond program is really going to help all our schools move into the future with technology, with security. Lots of good things with this bond, and we appreciate the support of the community.
Yeah. Which proposition are you more for out of all three of them?
1, 2, and 3. All the propositions are real important. Certainly Proposition 1, giving pre-K to every student across the city is very, very, very important. But giving our community the opportunity to have 2 special campuses that are in Proposition 2 with the fine arts as well as the STEM Academy is really going to give our students, our community, great opportunities that haven't been there before. And one of the departments I oversee is transportation, so I know there's a huge need to make sure our buses are there to be able to take kids to field trips and to school and so forth, so we appreciate that as well.
All right, thank you.
Well, now we're going back to our TV show with Victor.
Early voting provided the opportunity for voters to select the time and place where they wanted to cast their ballots.
Early voting took place October 21st through November 1st. Voting happened in the locations across the district, including right here at the Professional Development Center, where the AMP studio is located. This was the first time that voters in Texas were required to show a photo ID. As Superintendent Dansby just shared, one of the ways the district is informing voters was through town hall meetings. Fort Worth ISD held a series of meetings across the district to explain the $489.9 million bond package. Each of the meetings included Spanish and hearing-impaired translators on hand. These meetings were held at 15 different district schools. This was an opportunity for community members to learn about the 3 bond propositions and ask questions to the cabinet members. AMP TV's Reese Ewing gave us a look inside the town hall meeting held at Southwest High School.
You want to give yourself a round of applause back there?
District officials were available at each town hall to answer questions.
There are essential elements here that are very important to the growth of Fort Worth ISD grows.
Fort Worth ISD is expected to grow a lot very quickly. Studies show the district will increase by 4,600 students. Imagine, each one of these Skittles is 1 student, with the addition of 4,600 more. District officials said they will face overcrowding and the growth isn't planned to stop in just the next 5 years.
We'll be up to 90,000 in 10 years. So it's very important we begin to plan now.
And that's what the 3 propositions are aiming to do. Plan now for that future growth.
This is a lot of money. It's a big bond election, but it's a very important one for the city.
And Proposition 1 is important for both safety.
When the first Sandy Hook shooting broke out, I was like, I pray that never happens to us.
And technology.
If they can get the new computers, I'm really going to be happy. I'm going to be actually screaming.
Everything is on tablets, computers, and stuff like that. So I feel like the more
the kids know about technology, they'll be able to make it in the future.
For the future plan, Superintendent Dansby explained it will require more money from taxpayers.
I'm perfectly happy to pay more taxes. I think more taxes for improved schools is a bargain.
But other voters say the tax increase could affect whether or not the propositions pass.
The people who do not want to pay higher taxes will come out in stronger force.
After all the town hall meetings are complete, it's left in the voters' hands. Reporting for AMP TV, I'm Reese Ewing.
In addition to the town hall meetings, the district has also conducted a town hall meeting completely in Spanish in order to reach as many Fort Worth ISD residents as possible regarding the 2013 Commitment to Classrooms bond proposal.
The meeting was hosted by the Board of Education trustee Jacinto Ramos and Father Stephen Yasso. In addition, FWISD leaders were on hand to answer any questions about the upcoming bond election.
The Commitment to Classroom video was also shown in English with Spanish subtitles.
When we spoke with voters, the biggest question was where exactly will all the money go to?
We also have AMP reporter Hannah Lathan live in studio with more on this issue.
Thanks, Jack. I'm here with Deputy Superintendent Hank Johnson, who is in charge of finance and operations of Fort Worth ISD. He is also the face behind Ask Hank on the district's website. So, Hank, the bond proposal is for $489 million. Can you explain how the money will be used for each proposition?
Yes, Proposition 1 will be mostly for facilities and technology and security. Second proposition is for 2 new schools, a STEM school and a fine arts academy. And then the third is for equipment such as buses, band instruments, and also furniture and fixtures.
How long will it take this bond to be paid off?
It just depends on the life of the asset. We'll pay some of it off in 5 years based on the life of the asset. Some of it will be paid off in 15 years, but the long-term portion of it will be paid off in 25 years.
So why are bonds used to finance non-facility items?
In Texas, the only mechanism we have in place right now to finance facilities and equipment is through bond proposals, and so we issue the debt, finance our equipment, and then pay those off over the life of the asset.
If the bond proposals are passed, what does this mean for the district?
As they pass, it provides us with the opportunity to provide the needs, the equipment and facility needs to continue the path we're on about providing excellent education for all of the students across the district.
Will the district immediately incur this debt?
No, the debt will be sold in increments over the next 5 years, approximately about $100 million a year. And once we sell the debt, then it becomes a debt to the district. So it gradually builds or gradually increases over the life of the issuances.
So how will this bond impact each person specifically?
Approximately, well, in Fort Worth ISD, the average home is approximately $115,000. Under state law, you're entitled to a $15,000 homestead exemption. So an average home taxable value is approximately $100,000. At 3 pennies for all 3 propositions would be approximately $30 or $2.50 a month.
Well, thank you, Mr. Johnson. Reporting for AMP TV, I'm Hannah Lathan. Back to you.
Thanks, Hannah. And now, as part of our joint coverage of the bond election for the year 2013, we're going to throw it to our friends at AMP Radio.
Hello, I am Maria Delgado with AMP Cafe Radio. Welcome to our live coverage of the early election returns. We have with us Superintendent Walter Dansby along with Guadalupe Rodriguez and Honey Plata.
Hello.
Also on the phone with us, we have Elsie Shiro, who is the Senior Budget and Finance Officer in the Departments of Business and Finance. She is already at the Tarrant County Election Center, and she is going to update us on the results that we have so far. Ms. Sherry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm here. Are we ready? I'm here with Sam Gibson at the Tarrant County Election Office and have received our early voting numbers. Very, very pleasing. It seems on every proposition, we basically passed by a 75% to 25% margin. And would you like to go over each proposition individually?
Yes, ma'am, please, if you would.
Sure. For Proposition 1, there was 6,563 votes for, which is about 75.5%, and 2,125 votes against. On Proposition 2, there was 6,457 votes for, which is just about 75%, and against 2,218, which is at 25% against. And for Proposition 3, there were 6,513 votes for, which was a little over 75% of the vote, and against 2,145, which is just a little under 25%. So of the 30,235 voters, which is right at 3.16% of the voters, we've had a very favorable response for all three propositions.
That seems like a really good result. Mr. Walter
It
Dansby, would
is.
you like to say anything about those results?
No, I am very happy to hear the results. I think it's a tribute to the hard work that's been done throughout the process and the information that's been given to all the citizens who came out to listen at all the town hall meetings. And so I just want to congratulate all of our guys that have been involved in this process. But I do know that it's early, and we're still remain optimistic, even though those figures look real well. It's very early in the polling. So.
That's true.
Yes, we're very excited here, and we look forward to the other precincts coming in, and hopefully in the fairly near future.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for
Elsie,
the
a
update.
quick question for you. How many are in so far?
Just the early voting. That's all it's in.
That's okay, because just a little after 7. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
You guys have any questions for Mr. Walter Dansby or Elsie?
Yes, I'll start. Mr. Dansby was in charge of the 2007 Capital Improvement Program. What were some of the challenges in managing the Capital Improvement Program?
Well, first of all, it was getting over the previous bond program that we had before, and thanks to the voters, we passed that one with, I believe, Proposition 1 with 71%. I think the matter of actually putting some things in place that had some integrity, making sure that we stuck to our program, making sure we validated everything we did, and we really measured and measured again all the things and all the procedures that we had. I think it paid off for us in the long run in the previous bond program. So it's very important to maintain that integrity in any program that you have and be transparent, actually see what is actually going on. And above all things, if you make a commitment, deliver on that commitment.
That's a great response. It really is. Would you have a next question for us?
At this time, do you know who will be managing the bond program if it passes the election this evening?
No, we don't, because in the morning, if this passes, hopefully with the passing of it, we will put out information, a new RFQ for a program management team as well as for all our professional services. And so that decision will be made later on, probably by mid-December, we'll make a decision.
Oh, that's interesting. And for the person who's going to be in charge of implementing the bond package or the team, do you have any advices or suggestions for them?
Well, whoever it is going to be a program, a group of folks that bring with them a lot of honesty and integrity, that has a great background for being real productive and assertive. We've got to make sure that, again, as I said earlier, anything that we put in place, we've got to have a lot of follow-through and make sure that we're doing exactly what we say that we're going to do. We've got to be accountable to the public, and we want to make sure that we're doing the right things.
That's very great. Do you have any personal comments for the voters out there? I mean, not for the voters because they already voted, but do you have really high hopes that the bond package will get approved?
Not only high hopes for the bond package being approved, but also very high hopes and expectations for our district as a whole. I think it's so important that these things we have in this bond package, they are definitely a reflection of our strategic plan. And if we're going to move forward in this district, we've got to put these things in place. If you look at every single one of them, they're all connected, whether it's dealing with early childhood, whether it's dealing with STEM program, fine arts, the improvements in our band instruments and uniforms, going back to safety and security in buildings, and a lot of things you guys like is make sure we have that great technology on our campuses.
Yes, we do. And like we were talking earlier on our show, every single little thing on the bond package will benefit every school. We were talking earlier about how on I think it was the second or third proposition, the third,
Yeah,
I think, for
I
the
think it's the
buses.
third.
Yeah.
we need new buses.
We sure do.
Because our bus has broken down a lot of times, and I am scared every time that it happens.
Yes.
Like, I'm just
We're
scared.
afraid to be just left in the middle of the freeway and
Well,
just...
I hope you hadn't had to sit around for a long time. So, but yeah, it is great that we have that. But again, all the things are very important to us. But also, I'd like to say this too. Not only with buses, but there's something for every single child in this bond package for Fort Worth ISD. So in some way, it affects every single child and every single teacher that we have. And so hopefully it'll help us provide the skills and knowledge that you need and support that you need on the way, but also can also lead us to having a much, we've got a great community, but we can always improve on our community.
That is very, very true. Do you have any comments on that, Lupe?
It's perfect. It's great.
What about you, honey?
I think these propositions are really good either way, and if at least one of them passed, it would be amazing for us.
I hope all three passes.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is that we can continue programs like this that you guys have, and you guys have done a great job, an outstanding job. So I applaud you for all the work that you put in, and also being here on a school night and doing this for us as well. So again, thank you so much for your support and your involvement, and I hope that we continue to grow programs such as this in Fort Worth ISD through our programs of choice. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for doing such an outstanding job, Mr.
Yes.
Dansby. Really, you have done such an outstanding job. I am like so impacted. We're all impacted by your work that you've done to the district, and thank you very much. And for being here tonight, because we know that you also have a busy schedule, and for you to take time and reach out to the community, it's very, very awesome for you to be here.
Thank you so much. Your comments to me are very touching, and I appreciate it. That's what I'm here for. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And voters went to the polls today because it was approved by the school board to have a bond election. Before board members voted to have this election, there were public hearings with an opportunity for community members to voice their opinions.
And they weren't all in support. Here are what some citizens had to say.
We got to figure out how to get kids to run into school as fast as they run out. And in order to do that, we have to have innovative facilities, technology, and curriculum, as well as the support of parents, elected officials, and the business community. The Fort Worth Chamber will continue to offer support, as it has in the past, to the Fort Worth ISD to make sure we are producing quality and talented students.
The bond is a change, and it too should be met with feelings of excitement and anticipation. But it has not been planned or discussed for any real length of time.
You are doing a disservice to the kids of this district by rushing this bond to the ballot in November.
I do support you voting forward the bond election. I think it is critical for the facilities to keep up with the growth in our city. Every student deserves up-to-date facilities and the technology that is available to us in this day and age. We need to continue to make Fort Worth a better city.
Following those public comments, the school board members had a chance to vote on whether or not to hold a bond election.
Call for the vote. Motion passes. Trustee Matthew Aguilar made a motion approving the order calling a special election to authorize the issuance of bonds and resolving such other matters incident to such election, and Trustee Ashley Paz seconded such motion, which passed with unanimously.
And now AMP reporter Dai'Shai is live in studio with one of those board members that voted in support of the bond election.
Thanks, Victor. I'm live in studio with Fort Worth ISD School Board President Christene Moss. Mrs. Moss has served on the school board since 1990. What did the board decide to place these proposals in front of the voters?
Basically, we decided to place these proposals in front of the voters, the propositions, because, you know, technology over a couple of years, it's outdated. And Fort Worth ISD's technology is really outdated. And in order for our students to achieve, we have to upgrade technology. Many of our classrooms overcrowded. We needed space in our schools to improve our Gold Seals programs. Security across the country, if you've been keeping up with the news, how security was broken in elementary schools and what happened in those events. So we needed to upgrade our security in the schools. And pre-K, many of our pre-K students were not able to attend our schools because we did not have the space available. So with this bond, if it passes, we will be able to provide pre-K for all of the students across Fort Worth ISD, and you know how important that is.
Why do you think these propositions are important to improving the classrooms?
Well, the propositions are important because that's how we will improve student achievement. You have to have upgraded technology in order for the students to be successful, because that's the way of the country now, technology. And if you're behind in technology, your students will not achieve. There are many reasons we really need to continue to upgrade our schools, We need new schools. We need the security. One of the problems we have now, we spend more money on maintaining our buses than if we would purchase new buses. That would be $1 saved in our school district.
And what difference should we see if these propositions are actually passed?
Well, if the propositions are actually passed, we will see pre-K students, all pre-K students enter in pre-K. And that would improve the student achievement because they will not be behind when they reach kindergarten and first grade. We will see a performing arts facility that will be for our student district. We have students that want to focus on performing arts, but we don't have the facilities. And also our new STEM program, the STEM school. If we get the STEM school, our students that want to focus on science and technology and engineering and math, that will be the greatest thing for the students. And there are many things this proposition will do to improve student achievement. And I just know if the public and our constituents approve this bond, they will see student achievement really increase in this school system. And I just want to say all three propositions are needed to improve student achievement.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Moss. Reporting for MTV, I'm Dai'Shai.
Thanks, Dai'Shai. Let's go take it back to our radio room for continued team coverage of the bond election, now with Spanish.
Hello, everyone. Buenas tardes a todos. Estamos aquí con el señor Jacinto Ramos del primer distrito. El señor Ramos es del norte de Fort Worth y por lo que escucho yo es una persona muy energética. Él ayuda a la juventud de Fort Worth a entender su cultura y ser orgullosos de quienes son. El señor Ramos, ¿cómo se siente ser parte del mejoramiento de su ciudad?
Bueno, me da mucha alegría, se siente bien a todo dar porque estamos aquí para servir y es una oportunidad de tomar una posición de poder y de poder demostrar qué es lo que se debe hacer con este tipo de poder. So, estamos aquí para servir. Sí,
pues yo me sentiría también orgullosa. Y lo admiro mucho por estar haciendo eso.
Gracias.
En esta posición. ¿Cuál es su posición en la propuesta?
Pues mi posición es de que yo estaba en favor de las propuestas porque va a mejorar el sistema, va a mejorar nuestras escuelas. Cada propuesta nos da ciertas oportunidades de ser mejor en el distrito que estamos y más que nada queremos estar bien preparados para el futuro, para tenerlos a ustedes y a ustedes bien preparadas para el trabajo que viene, que sí. Pues en el propuesta número 1 sería la tecnología y en ese caso, si me dan chance, quiero tomar una foto para el Twitter. Ya ve, tenemos que estar bien preparados para todo lo que viene en el futuro. Sí. Y la segunda propuesta, pues de seguro estamos en favor de esas escuelas que nos van a dar chances de hacer ciertas cosas especiales que no hemos tenido antes. So, de seguro estamos en favor.
Wow, okay. ¿Y cuál es la propuesta que usted piensa que sería más importante para usted?
Fíjese, todas las tres me parecen muy importantes. El problema que tenía yo personalmente es de que no fuera a pasar una de las tres. Okay. Cada una va a servir, van a ser buenas cosas. So, la primera, el pre-kinder, la segunda, las escuelas especiales y luego la tercera que van a ser los autobuses y todo eso nos va a hacer falta.
Wow, okay. ¿Y cuál sería su meta más grande ahorita?
Bueno, fíjense, la meta más grande ahorita es de que se sigan involucrando los padres, de que sean parte de la vida de sus hijos en todos los niveles de la escuela. La meta más grande es de asegurarnos de que los padres se sigan involucrando y sigan dedicando su tiempo a sus hijos y a sus hijas.
Sí, yo pienso que también eso es muy importante, que los padres sean parte de...
Estamos de acuerdo, Valerie.
Sí, sí, porque es que también los padres impactan la vida de un estudiante, de una persona, para guiarlos en el buen camino.
Para los que están votando, ¿cuál es los consejos que usted podría darles a
bueno,
esos, los
para la
que
gente que votó,
¿qué está votando?
Bueno, yo personalmente fui a las puertas y a las casas a pedirle a la gente que votara. Les dije que tenemos que estar bien preparados y en este caso nosotros fue una oportunidad específicamente para mejorar nuestro sistema. Estamos atrasados en la tecnología, la seguridad y fue la oportunidad para asegurarnos que estuviéramos bien.
Okay. Pues a mí me parece muy bien eso de que usted fue personalmente a hablar con la gente. Yo pienso que eso es algo muy bonito, que hablen de persona a persona, porque la persona se siente más involucrada.
Más segura de lo que están haciendo y lo que se están metiendo. Para ver si es bueno o los bonos o si decir, ¿sabes qué? No. Y ya ellos decidan, ¿verdad?
Pues sí, más que nada, pues ahorita conmigo me traje un grupo de jóvenes, de adolescentes de ahí del vecindario donde vinimos,
sí.
Y por eso es que los trajimos para que vieran el proceso. Y dentro de esos grupos de jóvenes están 2 de mis hijos que también fueron y caminaron y pidieron a la gente que votaran en favor.
Sí. Y pues yo estoy muy feliz de que hicimos este show en español, porque yo pienso que muchos hispanos dicen, no, yo no quiero ir, no, yo no, porque piensan que, los estamos haciendo al lado, pero me gustó mucho que hicimos esto en español.
Y luego para que sepan que todos pueden votar.
Sí, también, y pues no nada más es en inglés, si ustedes necesitan venir y hablar en español o necesitan más información, aquí estamos con el señor Jacinto Ramos.
Claro que sí, estamos aquí. Y muy buen trabajo de parte de ustedes. Qué bien que están haciendo.
Ok, muchas gracias a todos los que están escuchando. Aquí estamos con el señor Jacinto Ramos, con
Laura Ledesma
y Joana Mier y Ashley Pérez. Seguimos continuando con la propuesta. Gracias.
This is not the first time in recent history that the Fort Worth ISD has asked voters for more money through a bond election.
That's right, Jack. In fact, the last time this happened was back in 2007. This capital improvement program was called straight to the classroom. Back in November 2007, voters approved a $593.6 million bond referendum. Of that money, $551.9 million was used to construction of new schools, additions, and renovations to existing schools and athletic facilities.
This project is now complete, and it was completed on time, under budget, and with a focus on safety and sustainability.
We are in the midst of getting all the election returns for this year's bond election. Back in 2007, the bond was only divided into 2 propositions.
Proposition 1 passed with roughly 70% in support of the vote.
Proposition 2 passed with just about 60% of the voter support.
In total, more than 28,000 voters cast their ballot in the 2007 bond election for the Fort Worth ISD. And both the 2007 Capital Improvement Program and the one proposed today are focused on student achievement.
It is a lot of work, but the potential outcomes far outweigh the price tag that's associated with the work. This community is very excited about the fact that the district is taking this long, hard look at everything from top to bottom in order to try to address educating our young people.
Each year, a selected number of high school juniors or seniors are able to take part in all of the Election Day activity. They are stationed at different election stations and directed by local judges. Here's Zaria Elsie Banks with more details about her experience as a student election clerk. Zaria?
Being a student election clerk is a wonderful experience for any high school student. It gives you a chance to see how the voting process goes. An election clerk has several responsibilities, such as keeping the polling place organized, distributing ballots, providing assistance to voters, and checking in and processing pictures. Since an election clerk is a job, workers are paid hourly, students are serving their community, state, and it's an impressive addition to your resume. And the experience is quite rewarding. Today I learned the true value of having the chance to vote, and I can't wait till I can do it next year. Reporting for AMP TV, I'm Zaria Elsie Banks.
I think it's really neat that students have an opportunity to really get their feet wet with the whole election process before they have to vote for themselves.
I mean, it is a true advantage, if you're trying to get into a major like political sciences or trying to get just to the voting process. And you also get paid while you're doing that, so.
Yeah, and it's just in general because we are coming of age in that time where we will soon be voting. So it's important for us to be familiar with the voting process and all that entails. Now we have AMP reporter Betsy Heredia with a future Fort Worth ISD parent that decided to start a political action committee in support of the Fort Worth ISD bond.
Thank you. A political action committee, or PAC, is a type of organization that pools campaign contributions from members and donates those funds to campaign for or against candidates, ballot initiatives, or legislation. I'm here with Keith Annis. He's a future Fort Worth ISD parent and that formed Fort Worth ISD Parents for Kids Political Action Committee. Why do you feel like the bond election would aid the Fort Worth community?
Well, the Fort Worth bond election will aid the Fort Worth school system, and anything that helps the schools is going to help the community. Schools in many of our neighborhoods are the centerpiece of the community. They are where people go to interact, they're where people go to learn about things, not just students, but the whole community goes there. They're where people go to. Personally, I take my kids to the playgrounds at local schools. So they're a center for a community, in all aspects of a community. So it's important that those places are strong. The stronger our schools are, the better educated our kids are, the better our communities are going to be.
You organized many volunteers to hit the streets and knock on doors to support the bond election. Here's what some volunteers had to say to our AMP reporters during the block walking on Saturday.
If you look at the country as a whole, one of the big issues is infrastructure. We need to keep our roads up, we need to keep our villages safe for traffic. And it's the same thing on the microcosmic level with our school districts. The bond issue basically provides funds to fix, repair, improve the infrastructure of the Fort Worth Independent School District through adding classrooms, adding buildings, making buildings safer, all these sorts of things, as well as the more human elements like funding pre-K district-wide. So that's kind of the big deal. Teachers, teachers and staff and employees make up 80% of the money spent in the district just for salaries. So with 20% left, that's not enough money to actually, take care of the infrastructure because all that's involved. The other 20% is all involved the day-to-day spending and running the district. So that's why we need to have these occasional bond elections to improve infrastructure.
Sometimes we, as administrators or even teachers or employees, we're not in the neighborhoods, when they're alive. And so this is a time when they're out and about, and we get to really kind of, interact with them. And it's really great to see, how much energy and how much, people are willing to talk to you if you give them a little bit of time.
So what role have these volunteers played in the election, and what have they done so far as laying the grassroots campaigning for this?
Well, they played a critical role. Everyone involved with Fort Worth ISD Parents for Kids has been a volunteer. As we saw, doing the block walking, doing phone banking, interacting and supporting what we're trying to do on social media, which is a critical element of what we're trying to do. So it really is from start to finish and top to bottom been a volunteer-driven organization.
And why should parents like yourself get involved in local schools?
Well, I mean, everyone understands that the most important piece of any child's education is their parents' involvement in that education. And the more involved a parent is, the better the kid is going to learn, and the more the child is going to learn. So not being involved is just not an option for me. I don't understand why anyone wouldn't want to be. But, having that support at home, having a parent who cares about what's going on, who cares about learning, who's helping and involved in the process, just makes everything better. It makes our kids' learning experience better. It makes our teachers' jobs easier. It makes our administrators' jobs easier. It keeps them involved, again, with the school, which is, again, a gathering place for the community. So there's no end to the benefit of parental involvement.
Well, thank you for joining us here today. I'm Betsy Heredia. Back to you.
One of the reasons why some voters said they cast a ballot against the three propositions was because they did not want to face an increase in taxes. The projected tax rate increase is approximately 3 cents per $100 of property value. AMP TV's AJ Romero breaks down the numbers. AJ, What will the impact be to the average family in Fort Worth if these propositions pass?
The average Fort Worth ISD home is a lot like this one. If all three bond proposals pass, this $115,000 home will get its taxes increased by $30 a year. If you're a senior or if you live in an apartment, these don't affect you. This only affects homeowners. Reporting for AMP TV, I'm AJ Romero.
Now, Victor, I understand we're both part of the Gold Seal program of choice with the Media Tech program at Southwest.
Yes, we have a pretty strong broadcast journalism program here, and it comes to show that some students that study through this program have a giant advantage in college, as some previous alumni, as you might have heard.
And we have this nice studio as a result of our previous bond election. Now we can throw it to a video from our bond package.
Did you know Fort Worth is one of the fastest growing urban areas in the nation?
The Fort Worth ISD is growing too. We'll be adding more than 4,600 students in the next 5 years.
To keep pace with all the progress in Fort Worth,
To educate the city's future workforce. And to prepare students for college and career success.
The Fort Worth ISD School Board has called for a capital improvement bond program. We call it
A Commitment to Classrooms.
On November 5th, voters will consider a commitment to the classrooms of the Fort Worth ISD. On the ballot, 3 propositions to ease overcrowding, provide technology, and increase school security. Here's how we arrived at them.
An outside team of experts examined the district's facilities to see how well they're able to support effective education.
taking into consideration the needs of academic programs and projections for larger enrollment.
And as you know, technology has completely transformed the 21st century classrooms. And we're more aware than ever of the need to keep our classrooms safe and secure.
I really appreciate all of you being here again. The district also listened to all segments of the community. For 2.5 days in January, stakeholders came together with a singular purpose to create the district's 5-year strategic plan.
Leaders from businesses, community organizations, colleges and universities, students, teachers, school board trustees, and administrators.
This community is very excited about the fact that the district is taking this long, hard look at everything from top to bottom in order to try to address educating our young people in a better fashion.
Everyone had a voice and shared their needs and expectations.
And it has pushed us to put together a very good package.
Once the original assessment came back,
district administrators balanced the objectives in the strategic plan: early childhood, safety and security, and technology in the classroom with the needs stated in the assessment. Then board members went about trimming the original bond package.
District officials and board members went up and down that list, item by item, to cut the cost.
And to make sure the items aligned with the new results-oriented strategic plan.
In the end, we were able to whittle the list down to just 3 propositions for a total of $489.9 million.
Our board members heard public comment, examined the project list again, and then set the bond election for November 5th.
Motion passes.
Proposition 1 would upgrade technology at all schools. This includes providing a laptop or tablet to every high school student.
Laptops and iPads have become everyday educational tools at schools across the country. Students use them for learning.
another Prop 1 highlight, district-wide pre-kindergarten for all 4-year-olds.
Children at this age are already learning their letters, their sounds, and social skills.
The district currently provides pre-kindergarten to only 4,000 of its 7,000 pre-kindergarten age children.
Pre-K is the building blocks of a good education.
I'm a kindergarten teacher and I can see the difference pre-K can make on students.
Do you know most urban districts are seeing a drop in enrollment? Not Fort Worth ISD.
We are 83,000 strong and still growing. Prop 1 addresses overcrowding by adding classrooms
and establishing a new high school in Berg and 2 elementary schools in the district. Renovations to 5 schools would enhance the district's Gold Seal programs of choice and schools of choice, as well as career and technology education classes.
Gold Seal programs provide opportunities for all students. It gives them a head start on their college career, and it provides ample opportunities for them to explore their interests.
Hey, how's it going? You finding everything okay?
And don't forget the lunch line, please. Prop 1 would refurbish tiny, outdated kitchens at 24 schools and put new kitchens and cafeterias in 5 schools.
And add Wi-Fi friendly areas for eating and for learning.
Prop 1 also includes upgrades in safety and security for all schools. Things like surveillance systems and main entry access controls.
Companies are looking for good engineers, and we need to grow our own right here in Fort Worth.
Proposition 2 will add a science, technology, engineering, and math academy. Another Fort Worth ISD Gold Seal School of Choice.
STEM academies inspire innovation, critical thinking, and hard work, all very important in preparing students for the demands of college.
Prop 2 would also add a Gold Seal Fine Arts Academy, similar to Dallas's celebrated Arts Magnet School.
You can have wonderful schools and programs, but students have to be able to get to them.
Proposition 3 would allow the district to add more buses to its money-saving fleet.
Many of our students and their families rely on district transportation.
More than half of our bus fleet is more than 10 years old, and the maintenance adds up. Replacing aging buses with new ones is expected to save money in the long run. Prop 3 would also replace, refresh, or repair worn-out equipment, uniforms, and
band instruments.
And keeping an eye on all of the work.
A Citizens Oversight Committee, just like the one that was formed in 2007, to help deliver the bond package on time and under budget.
The school board will appoint the members of the committee. They'll come from all sectors of the community.
So there you have the propositions in a nutshell.
3 propositions totaling $489.9 million. What does that mean for you and me, the taxpayers?
Say you own a $115,000 home. If you're under the age of 65, you'd pay an extra $30 a year in taxes. That's $2.50 a month.
About the price of one of these for a commitment to the classroom.
And to Fort Worth. Now it's up to you, the voters, to decide.
Before we wrap our election coverage up tonight, we would like to throw it to our reporter, Dai'Shai Logan, with Superintendent Walter Dansby in studio.
Before you became superintendent, you oversaw the 2007 Capital Improvement Program. How are bonds a good way to help fund education?
Well, really, it's the only way to fund education when it comes to facilities and renovation of facilities.
Okay. How was the district's message different? How was the district's message different about this 2013 bond versus the one in 2007?
Well, certainly in the 2007 bond, because our facilities are so old, it was really about remodeling our facilities, putting infrastructures in place for technology and other things, safety and security. All those were great measures we put in place. Also HVAC systems, all those things that really the structure of the building and the functionality of the building had to be addressed. This bond program helps us address some of the academic needs when we talk about pre-K, the technology, the added classroom space, and also, again, safety and security that we really need to continue to improve upon.
Okay. So what do these early voting numbers mean for the district?
Well, we're very optimistic about the early voting numbers. I'm ecstatic at the fact that we have in all 3 propositions just about 75% passing at this time. But also, we do know that there may be a lot of people out to vote today, but we're very optimistic we'll get all 3 passed tonight.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Reporting for AMP TV, I'm Dai'Shai Logan.
That is all for our special election edition of AMP TV. We will continue to bring you the latest news about Fort Worth ISD.
And be sure to watch tomorrow at 1 for our regularly scheduled broadcast. We'll take another look at all of these propositions and what they mean for the district.
If you have any story ideas, email us at amp.edtv@fwisd.org.
And you can always find the latest district news at www.fwisd.org. Thanks for watching.